Hello, everybody. Welcome to Blood and Popcorn. I am T.J. Rotell, and with me, as always, the lovely, the talented, the Demogorgon, Denise Pantoja. How you doing tonight, Denise?
I'm well. How are you, TJ?
I'm doing just fine, because you know what? It's time for a little all-new Blood and Popcorn, and tonight we've got a fun one. We've got one for the, those viewers out there who may or may not be as deep into the horror zeitgeist as you and I and some of the other viewers are. So we wanted to put together a little beginner's guide of sorts, a little starter kit, some essentials to get you started on your horror journey with Horror 101. Tonight's episode, where we're going to cover some of our favorites, but more, just some movies we feel like if you haven't really been involved in the horror genre your whole life like we have, these are like some must-sees to get you kicked off and going. So we're gonna get going. Let's not waste much time. But it is a Tuesday night. But we'll pretend it's Friday night because I like those much better. But yeah, how are you, Denise? How's life been treating you?
It's not without its challenges, but I can't complain a whole lot, but I do. Um, so yeah, I mean, things are good. I mean, it's good to be here with you. It's good to be back here with chat. And it's good to be back talking about horror movies. And I love the fact too that you and I chose not necessarily our usual suspects. We decided to venture out of the, as you called it, the Holy Trinity. Um, because you tend to like really want to hammer in those, at least I know I do, like those like early 80s game changers, the ones that set the foundation for a lot of what we see today. But we mixed it up a little bit.
Yeah, it's pretty great. I'm pretty happy with what we picked. I know we could have gone for some layups. We could have gone with, we could have stayed firmly situated in the, late 70s, early 80s and called it a day. But we wanted to pepper in, a little something from the decades, from a few decades, that horror is ever evolving and ever changing. And when you have, so many different genres and subgenres and a billion other, ways to skin the horror cat, we wanted to kind of represent a bit of everything. And, I'm sure we'll do more of these down the road. But for tonight, we're going to be addressing A Nightmare on Elm Street from 1984, the original Nightmare on Elm Street. The right Nightmare on Elm Street, let's be honest. Night of the Living Dead, the Tom Savini version from 1990, Final Destination from 2000, Insidious from 2010, and Ready or Not from 2019. So let's kick it off with the kind of the first tier of my Holy Trinity, which is, one Frederick J. Krueger, also known as Freddy Krueger, from Wes Craven's absolute classic, A Nightmare on Elm Street. Quick run through. This is a movie about a guy who is like a dream demon. Comes after you in your sleep, kills you, and you die in your dream. You die in real life. He's got a sweet ass glove with some knives for fingers, and not a great dude, but someone who evolved into somebody that I think everyone can love, as far as loving child killing pedophiles go. Yeah, that's that. That's how that goes. Denise, what's your kind of, I mean, I know obviously we both love these movies, but like, what's your take on Nightmare on Elm Street? When do you remember when you first saw it? Do you remember when you were first introduced to Freddy Krueger?
I don't. I don't remember when I first saw it, but I know it's always been a part of my lexicon. Am I using that correctly?
Sure. I don't think anyone's going to fact check you on that.
I mean, listen, they might. I don't know. I just, uh, yeah. Well, yes, a branch of knowledge. Yeah. So it's the vocabulary of a person, language, or a
I'm
branch of
glad you looked
knowledge.
that up
I would say,
live on
listen,
camera.
I want to be correct. Okay. I want to come correct. Um, it's always been a part of my horror foundation. Um, I mean, Freddy Freddy fucking Krueger, man. He is, even though he has a lot of great one-liners and became really campy over the years, he's terrifying. And I think the basis on which the story was built is also terrifying. I mean, it's just a really, in my opinion, successful um way to scare the shit out of people. Like I'm sort of repeating myself here, but it's I don't know. I don't know. It's he's there. He's there for me. And like you said, yeah, he's an awful character, an awful individual.
Oh
Like,
yeah, one of the
oh my
worst
god,
in the history of cinema.
but is a beloved character in the history of horror.
Yeah, I mean, masterfully played by Robert Englund.
My god.
Um, Freddy rapidly went from one of the most horrifying characters in the genre to someone that little kids would dress up as for Halloween, which I always thought was wild. Um, and
They
it's
probably didn't quite get it yet.
yeah, not quite. I mean, I know I wasn't originally introduced to Freddy Krueger via this movie, like via the original Nightmare on Elm Street. My first Nightmare on Elm Street was Nightmare on Elm Street 3. That's the one that I saw first.
Really?
Yeah, and and then I went back and obviously watched the others. You go back and if you start on 3 when he's starting to get cheeky and starting to really get more on the comedy side of things, uh and then you go back to the first one and where he's like really scary. Like he's always scary, but like in the first one he's terrifying. And then you go to the second one and it's a very different movie. It's really jarring as a fan of the genre to go through the franchise in that order. But yeah, I've loved Freddy Krueger. He's like my favorite of all time. He's my favorite killer of all time. He's got like, there's just, and I think a lot of it has to do with the way Robert played him throughout the franchise. And bless what was the name, Jackie Early Haley,
Jackie Earl Haley.
yeah, for going out and trying to take on that mantle. That was a bold yes to give the studio on that. And I don't hate the remake. I just hate how they made him look with a bunch of CG and voice modulation, and it wasn't as impactful. But the cast was really good. It was a great young cast of starlets and stars, and that was really fun. And yeah, absolutely, Death and Saints. Dokken from the third one put on a banger of a fucking theme song. Denise
Yeah.
got me that record years ago. We gotta find that. I don't
That's
know
a
where the hell it is.
story for another episode.
That's when we go through the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. That's when we'll do. That's when we'll
Yeah.
do that one.
We'll
And no,
go
Sean, we haven't
franchise by
seen Hard Eyes
franchise.
yet, but I'm hearing very good things, and it's kicking ass in the box office. So we
It's
support
funny.
it.
A friend of mine watched it and he's like, I didn't think it was that great, but we digress. I think that what you were talking about how Robert portrayed him. I remember, I think we were watching a documentary, one of the stories about how, like, when he put the glove on, his physicality changed. He leaned into that because, obviously it's heavier. You've got the metal knives coming out, and that helped inform the character, which is another beautiful thing about how um, about the synergy between things like production design and costume design and acting and writing, and it all kind of comes together in this beautiful, or can come together in this beautiful way.
Yeah, well, I mean, Brad got me my glove, right? Brad, that was a gift for Brad. Was that? Or did you get me that?
I got you the glove.
You got me the glove. Brad helped you source it.
Yes.
Uh, that glove, I mean, it's pretty. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's pointy. Like it's not they're not sharp, but like it's pointy enough. But it is that weight of that glove, both physically and spiritually. Like when you throw that out and you like go from a closed fist to like exploding those knives out. There's something to it, man. It's a powerful feeling, and I definitely can see how that played a big part in creating that Freddy, because you walk a little taller. It's a heavy glove, so you might drop your shoulder a little bit and let that hang. I mean, it's like you said, when all the departments work together to create someone like that, it really brings it to life really well. But Robert's not the only one. You have a very young and a very fresh faced Johnny Depp in this as Glenn,
Old
um,
Johnny Depp.
who's the boyfriend to our final girl, one of the legends of the genre, Heather Langenkamp, who plays Nancy, our lead, who you don't know is the lead initially. You think it's Ronnie Blakely who plays. No, that's her mom. It was Amanda Weiss played Tina, or Weiss. I don't know. Wyss, Vice. Who knows? I sure don't. But yeah, so
Some people.
you're led to believe that Tina is gonna be the lead character in this movie, and then she just fucking gets it, man. I mean, one of the most visceral and violent deaths in movie history, like just brutal.
It's interesting to notate. You think Drew Barrymore's the first, but I guess not, because that's a little misdirection that he's used before.
Oh, and you're
In
talking about Scream.
Yeah,
Drew
because
Barrymore was not in A Nightmare on Elm Street.
no. What I'm saying is you're like, oh, when that came out, we were like, oh my god, that's never happened before. But the way you just described it, it has happened before. Wes Craven did it before, and I love that I just came to that realization that oh, here you think that one character is going to be one thing, and then you're led on a completely different path, a completely different adventure.
Yeah, it is an old Wes Craven trick, I guess, that he's brought back on
I guess so.
several occasions. Because yeah, I think you get a little bit of that too in Cursed. It is something that he's pulled out of the bag, which I love. I mean, I love Wes Craven in general. It was awesome to meet him when we did and get his autograph. And
What a random thing. Go ahead and tell that story. What a random, really amazing. Like, I know I sound old when I say, "Oh, things don't happen like they used to," but when we used to go, I'll set it up a little bit. When we used to go to um, horror conventions, or the one horror convention that existed, it was Creation Entertainment, and it was Fangoria Weekend of Horrors, which Fangoria, if you're not familiar, is a horror magazine. Um, and it was this really cool, small, it was a very niche thing because this was before horror totally exploded
I
and
mean, small. It wasn't small. Like
it was
the
compared to what it is now, it was small.
the one that you went to initially was small. I went to them when I was a teenager in New York.
Okay, but you went to the ones on the East Coast. Okay, I'm
Before
talking about West
before
Coast.
Creation had taken it over and Fangoria ran these on their own. Fangoria's Weekend of Horrors was massive.
Okay, that's true. So was it like it was Fangoria, then it was Fangoria and Creation, and then it was gone?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay,
I think if I'm remembering that correctly, Creation is just the company that put it on. It's
sure.
like they're like the business end of the logistics behind it. But yeah, the Fangoria Weekend of Horrors, where you can go and meet a bunch of celebrities, a bunch of horror icons, see some cool movies that aren't out yet or coming out that are premiere there, do panels. But we had the opportunity to meet, do an autograph session with Wes Craven, which was rad. And we were like, oh my God, it's Wes Craven. We have to fucking find something for him to sign.
Because we didn't bring anything, we did not
Yeah,
know
we
that
didn't
was gonna
realize that was the
happen.
thing that was going to go on.
Do you even remember what we were watching? Because we saw, like, a screening of something.
We at that one, I think we saw Boo.
But
Was that
no,
Fangoria?
what was he there for? It was like it was either a panel or a screening or something, or both.
It was probably a Nightmare on Elm Street reunion, I would assume, something to that effect. But
Yeah,
afterwards, we
maybe.
got to meet him, and we found these stickers. That was the only thing we could find on short notice to get to have him sign
Because it
was
was
some
the
stickers.
end of the day as well.
Yeah,
Like, a
but
lot of
you would
booths were
think,
closed down.
yeah, you would think there was Nightmare on Elm Street merch, everywhere, and then you'd get out there and not. Favorite Aussie horror flick? Well, you're not gonna have seen it, because it's a short film and it was made by our buddy Josh, and it's called Axed. It's on YouTube, I think, but it's a zombie movie. I think it's like close to 30 minutes. It was one of the first things he did. He's a phenomenal director. He was actually on the show a couple years ago as a guest. He just did a short called Postmodern Mary. Super talented,
That's
from Brisbane. And
postmortem Mary.
what did I say? Postmodern Mary.
Postmodern.
Yeah, postmodern
Postmodern
Mary.
jukebox.
She's just a
Postmortem
girl in
jukebox.
the city. No, it's post-mortem Mary. But yeah, he's super fun. But I think beyond that, there's like oh god, Wormwood. Was that it was like a I can't remember what the cover was, like a dude in a gas mask with a wild shotgun that had like a bunch of barrels on it. But yeah, so that's the Aussie side of things. But yeah, so Nightmare on Elm Street, John Saxon, who played Nancy's dad, Ronnie Blakely, who played her mom, and then you got I don't know how to pronounce this dude's name. Ju Garcia, JSU, Ju, played Rod, who was Tina's boyfriend, and then a slew. Lynn Shay, sister of Robert Shay, who was running New Line at the time, who
Did I
took
know
that
that
out.
that was his sister and that was her brother?
You yes, we've definitely had that conversation before. We've watched the Nightmare on Elm Street documentary on several occasions, and in that you see Lynn Shay, and you know that it's Bob and
Really?
Lynn Shay. Yeah,
I well,
yeah, old Bobby and Lynn, the brother sister duo. And yeah, so that's I mean, it's just a bunch of kids getting murdered in their sleep in really horrific ways. What was your favorite? Do you have a favorite kill in that?
I mean, yeah. I mean, Johnny Depp's kill is pretty fucking epic. And I imagine that is that your favorite because it's got a lot of blood and I know how much you love blood.
It was, yeah. I mean, that's just one of those things where like my heart lies in gallons and gallons of blood. And yeah, that scene made me smile real big, and it still does every time I see it. But honestly, like Tina's Tina's death is really spectacular because the
Shit, that's true. Yeah.
effects side of it was so cool. Because they used a rotating room, which is a big mechanical device where you lock the camera in place and you rotate a room around it. And that's a big stunt piece and a big practical visual effects piece. And I love that. I love how what they did with that. And I'm pretty sure the bed was also used with that room because they basically flooded the room with fake blood and it like fried all the lights
I think so,
and
yeah.
fucking broke a bunch of shit. Um, but yeah, so those are two of my favorites. But the Johnny Depp one's just so fun, especially because at the end of it, the mom comes in and it's just he's in a bed, like his body's in. Like, how do you explain that? Like, no one thinks that's weird that his fucking body's in the waterbed filled with blood. Like, what did he do? Get in there and then like light a match and sew it back up? It doesn't make any sense. But that's Freddy Krueger, and I think that's what he brings to the table is his powers are limitless, and wholly undefined. And I think like you get to see some of that throughout each movie, but they just get stronger and stronger to the point where he's like can manipulate reality and like it's just wild. Like one of my favorite kills is in uh was it Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare? Um where with Breckin Meyer, um he played the video game character. But we'll talk about that
Oh,
more.
that's
But
good. I know, you
yeah, but
stop.
that
You're
I'm so
ruining
listen.
it for
I'm it's
yourself.
listen. You're right. We're talking about the original Nightmare on Elm Street from 1984, and yeah, it's really good. The acting is just really good too. Heather Langenkamp. I don't know what all she'd done before this, but she really cemented her place in the history of horror with this role because she, you know, like before then you'd had your Jamie Lee Curtis from Halloween was a big scream queen. Um, Friday the 13th, was it Alice in Friday the 13th was 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 good, but really didn't have that like final girl. Like she was technically the final girl, but not in the way that like Nancy was. Like Nancy was an ass kicker. Like she was like, I'm gonna home alone the house. I'm gonna go voluntarily take on Freddy Krueger. I'm gonna rip his burnt ass out into the real world, and then I'm gonna send him through a real life game of mousetrap where I'm gonna kill the fucking guy. Like I'm gonna smoke his ass. And and yeah, and fuck him a million ways, and I'm gonna light him on fire. But like she was like anarchist cookbook level, like building like traps and
Yeah.
bombs, and
She was very resourceful.
yeah, and just really kicked his ass all over the place. Um, and then of course, as all great killers do, he comes back at the end and sets us up for
Spoiler alert.
many more scares to come.
Spoiler alert, he comes back if you didn't know that by the
Yeah, if you didn't
7,000
know,
movies.
now you know. And if you didn't know, now you know.
The thing about Freddy too, I think that's so terrifying is that he is inevitable. If he
Yes.
sets his sights on you, because it's like, okay, you want to avoid, Jason, maybe you don't go to, Camp Crystal Lake, or New York in 1 year, or space. You want to avoid,
Stay
Michael
away from
Myers.
space.
Stay away from space. Stay out of space. You don't go to Haddonfield, right? Freddy can find you fucking anywhere. He can find you in your dreams. You have to sleep at some point, or you will die. And if he's got his sights set on you, he will meet you in those dreams.
Yeah, basically what's determined with Freddy is that his power is derived from belief in fear. And which is why, like in the later movies, the town of Springwood kind of finds a way around Freddy killing their kids. And he comes back, and that's why he has to come back the way he does in Freddy versus Jason, which we'll talk about another time. But yeah, he is. Well, but the thing though, D, is he is confined to Springwood. He's not a free floating being. He
Fair enough.
exists in Springwood. It is
Now I want
Springwood,
to see
right?
Freddy in space.
Springwood. I hope I'm getting that right. I'm saying it a lot.
I think so. The title for something else. So.
Oh, it is the title for. It's a title for something I've been writing for a long time with a friend. Anyway, let's see. I'm just gonna look it up real quick. Springwood Nightmare on Elm
Okay.
Street.
So, all right.
Yes.
Thanks for just denying my entire tirade there.
Well, we
No,
like to
you're right.
like to
I'm
spit
kidding.
facts here on Blood and
We do.
Popcorn.
We like to spit facts.
We like to spit facts. But yeah, but that's the thing. Like he does eventually get out in Freddy's Dead, and he leverages another character in that movie to kind of break him out of Elm Street.
That's a good question. I don't know. Do you dream in cryogenic stasis? I guess that's the question. Is your brain active in that way?
I've never been there.
Never been to cryogenic stasis.
Never been to Stasis Town, USA. So I couldn't speak to that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I mean, I would assume that if there's like brain activity, if there's brain waves, but no, because they use the dream suppressant drug in 3, and I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head, and they use it again in Freddy versus Jason. And suppressing the dreams does keep him out. So I think you do have to be actively dreaming. Like you do have to be in a REM cycle and have actual dreams. But that's what's scary about it is like, Heather says in the movie, like, whatever you do, don't fall asleep. And that's fucking hard. Like if anyone out there has ever tried to not sleep, like Denise can sleep. She might fall asleep during the show, but like it's
That's
scary.
not
Like
true.
if you're like driving for a long time or you've been up for a long time, like I only slept like 3 hours last night. You'll just be sitting there and all of a sudden you'll micro nap, like where your eyes are open, your brain just goes, I'm done, and blinks out for a second. You're like, oh shit.
I did do that. We were on a call with Glenn and Brad and Angie, and they said something, and I repeated it, and I was like, TJ goes, "Did you just fall asleep?" I go, "Yep, with my eyes open."
Yeah, so like poor Denise in the Nightmare franchise would not last long.
Yes, I would. I
don't-
would totally survive.
I don't think so.
Listen.
Dr. Pepper and caffeine like puts you to sleep. You're neurodivergent. Caffeine's like your enemy.
Listen. I'm a final girl. You be quiet.
Hey Mo. By the way, shout out to chat. Hi Death. Hi Estonian Knight. Hey Mo.
Brain Beast.
Hey Brain
What's
Beast.
up,
Sean.
baby?
How's it going, guys? It's great to see everybody out tonight.
Welcome.
But yeah, so Denise, any last thoughts on Nightmare on Elm Street before we move on to Night of the Living Dead?
It is one of the reasons I think that it's important to be on a horror 101 list is that it is a really excellent use of practical effects. Like it's and like you mentioned before, it's just a really well done piece of scary, gory cinema.
Yeah, it definitely deserves its spot on this list. And I'm glad we got to chat about it. And we'll dive deeper into it when we go through the Nightmare franchise as a whole on this show sometime down the future. But yeah, that's Nightmare on Elm Street. Denise, up next we've got the 1990 Tom Savini remake of the George Romero classic Night of the Living Dead, and I know this is one of your absolute favorites. So I'd love for you to tell the folks at home all about this movie and why you love it so much.
It is. If you are unfamiliar, George Romero is the godfather, grandfather,
I don't know, Father,
mega father of
the Pope.
zombie zombies as we know them and love them. A lot of people have made their own interpretations of the world and the universe, but he really established what a lot of people followed, and very beautifully. He got screwed in so many different ways. He made his original
Hollywood,
film,
baby.
and and he wasn't able to, like, this is a story for another day, but he wasn't able to retain the rights, so it 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 hurt him a lot. And Tom Savini wanted to direct a remake, and he did that with George's blessing. Um, it's it's similar, it's to the original, but different enough to bring it into the 90s. And also the original was in black and white. It had a lot of beautiful messaging. Um, and if I recall, there's a lot of screaming. Barbara,
Oh
our
yeah,
our
Barbara's
main
an
main
entirely different
character.
character
Yeah,
in
our
the
main
uh, in
character
the
is
original.
very different, um, and sometimes a little hard to get through because of the incessant screaming, but it's still an important movie, and I'm not saying that it should not be considered, but the remake to me, I think is an excellent example of the, um, transition that one can go through if faced with these horrific circumstances. So you have Barbara and Johnny, their brother and sister, they're visiting their mother's grave, and all of a sudden, in Romero's world, you just wake up and you're in the middle of the shit, right?
Yeah, one
All
of
of
my
a
favorite
sudden
parts about everything he does in this in the Romero zombie verse.
all of a sudden you've got, dead people walking around, and, then Johnny inadvertently gets killed, and Barbara's gotta run off and find shelter. She ends up in a house, um, where you find out later some people have been hiding, and then you have a really fantastic character, played by Tony Todd, R.I.P. fucking Tony Todd, like another legend, named Ben, who comes and gives you just a sort of the lowdown of what's going on. All of a sudden, dead people are walking around, right?
Don't
So,
forget, don't forget who Johnny was played by. Another very famous horror legend,
oh, another icon, obviously. Johnny was played by, wait, hold on,
Bill Moseley.
Bill Moseley. So the the entire story goes through the night that they're sort of holed up in this house, and the interactions with the other
Hence,
survivors.
Night of the Living Dead.
Oh my gosh, you're so right.
I know,
So
I
smart.
know, smart.
Um, it's one of those that I can listen to, and I can see it in my head. I can listen to movies like a song, or like songs, like music. And this one is one that's on repeat for me, often. It's just it's I love Patricia Talmadge's portrayal of Barbara. She screams a lot in the beginning, and she's like, "I don't know what to do," and she's like, "What's going on?" She's shell-shocked, and eventually, throughout all of the people that she meets, all the circumstances that she comes into contact with, she is a completely different person by the end, and I guess it's something that you sort of hope would happen to you if you were faced with the same issues, like, you always wonder. That's one of the things that I love about horror is that it's a safe way to explore all of these themes. It's a safe way to kinda put yourself in the character's shoes. Would I do that? Would I scream? Would I answer the door? Would I say, "Who's there?" You know what I mean? Um, and I feel like her journey is one I personally hope that I would be able to complete, hope that I would be able to get it together enough to be able to defend myself, to survive, but not in like a really like crazy way where it's like all of a sudden I can do jujitsu and I can totally, I was like this mousy girl at the beginning and all of a sudden I'm like this total badass. I mean, she's a very realistic, believable badass for me.
Yeah, I think you would. I think you're pretty clutch in a crisis. It's the non-crisis situations that you seem to fall apart more in.
Yeah, like
But
walking through a doorway,
yeah, like that's when your doorways are very dangerous for you. But a horde
closing a
of the
window,
undead, that feels more your speed. That feels more like something you could really overcome.
jumping action.
I would put you on my zombie survival team for sure.
Thanks.
You'd be right there at the top. Yeah, I really love this movie. This oddly enough, much like Nightmare on Elm Street 3 was my gateway into that franchise. This was my gateway into the Living Dead franchise, into Romero's universe of zombies. I hadn't seen the original until I was well into high school, and I bought it on VHS, and it came the edition that I bought. Hey, Lauren, what's going on?
Oh my
Um,
gosh, hi.
Great to see you. But
How you doing?
yeah, the original came with like the special edition came with this like fan movie called Night of the Living Bread, which was really fun. But
Carbs are my downfall.
yeah, I still to this day like I love and respect the original classic, but my favorite Night of the Living Dead is 100% this version. And it's due in part to the fact that Tom Savini's a fucking genius when it comes to practical effects, and his zombies really kind of set the stage for the Nicotero, like Walking Dead zombie. Um, because they worked a lot together. I think Greg Nicotero might actually have even worked on this as an assistant. If not, he was definitely on Dawn of the Dead. But yeah, I mean no.
And he was in Day of the Dead.
Yeah, but so like that's the thing. Like this has it's so much more, and it's in color, which I don't love black and white movies. I'm not. They're kind of geek me out. I have this weird black and white phobia. Like that one day I'm gonna wake up in the 1950s and everything's gonna be in black and white, and everyone will be a ghost, and I'll
Did you
be in
never see
hell.
Pleasantville? Did you avoid that one?
Pleasantville was unsettling for me, to say the least. Um, but yeah, like I think Tony Todd really brings a different level to the character of Ben in this that I've always really loved. This was I mean, Candyman was I think where I initially saw Tony Todd, but this is where he really shined. He's just so emotive, and it's such a powerful role, and even in 1990, still like that still carried through just as much. And just like especially like you see him as the other characters are hurting and he's scared and he's trying to do his best to keep his shit together while dealing with a racist asshole that's in the house with him. you know it's a really complex role, and I don't know if he really gets his flowers for that enough, because it's Tony Todd's a brilliant actor, or was a brilliant actor, still is a brilliant actor, even in his death. But like Candyman is a really complex role, and Ben is a really complex role too, and he just executed so well. And like you said, Patricia Tallman, who I think we saw in a play, like with like David Blue did like that like science fiction play series or something. She was in one of those. Um, but yeah, like her Barbara is my Barbara. That's the when I saw like that was my introduction to Barbara, and then when I went back and watched the original black and white version that Romero made, I was like, oh, I don't like this Barbara. This is not my Barbara. So yeah,
Right.
shout out Patricia Tallman because her Barbara was a little
Oh
more
my
ass
god.
kicker.
Yeah.
She had her moments. I like that they still paid homage at the top, you know, before she transitions into Barbara Badass, uh, where she's still falling apart, and Ben brings her out of that, you know, and kind of shakes her out of it, and then she lets out a good scream, and then she's fucking good. She's like, game on, like cock the shotgun and let's fucking go. And I love that about this version of Barbara. But it's got a really
Okay.
great supporting cast too, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Did I say Talmadge? I said Talmadge. What an idiot.
Talmadge
Talman.
Magador.
Yeah. Listen, to be fair, we came up a little late because I broke my Barbie glass because I'm a dork. And I had to very quickly clean up glass, and then I had to throw one of the cat scratchy things. It's just, yeah. So, also, brain doesn't work as well as it used to. I am exhausted.
I don't think Patricia's gonna be mad at it. I
I
don't think she's ever
listen,
gonna
I
see this.
she
And
you
she's
never
gonna be
know.
like, fuck Denise Pantoja is what I'm saying. Get my name wrong, you know,
I'm sorry.
was what I
Sorry,
would think
Patricia. You never know. You never know.
you know, what I would think would happen. But you
I
know,
can admit when I'm
fantastic Judy
wrong.
Rose and Tommy, great couple character. They felt very true to the originals, like they were great.
Just do as I
Um
say.
and then he kisses her so passionately, but so awfully.
Aggressively.
Like it's an
Aggressively.
aggressive smooch.
I wouldn't say passionately.
Yeah, like passion and aggression make for strange bedfellows. And Tommy's kiss to Judy Rose was about as strange of a bedfellow as you can get. It like it, it was one of my favorite parts of the movie because it's just so awkward. It's just like because it's almost like neither of them want to do it, and it's just like this like that's probably the best way I can describe. It's like that's kind of what it's like rubbing your hand against your face for a brief moment before breaking away to go get blowed up. Um, yeah. Do what I say, Judy Rose.
Just do as I say. Um, I wanted to just say real quick, we also love how many Aussies love us because we
Oh
love y'all.
yeah,
We love y'all, and
yeah. We got like
I'm down for a meet and greet. Yes, yes, yes,
yeah. We'll come to you. Don't come here. We'll come to you
yes, yes.
and
No,
stay.
nobody wants to come here.
We'll
Um,
come to you and we'll stay. Just do us a favor and get rid of all of the poisonous giant insects that
Listen,
are around.
don't hate on the spiders. I love spiders.
Yeah, I listen. I don't hate spiders as much as I used to, but when they're the size of small dogs, actually, the ones that are the size of small dogs don't bother me
Those
as
are
much as the
better.
little ones.
It's the yeah, because then the little ones can crawl into your drink.
Yeah, like and then get in my mouth, and no one wants that.
Um,
Um,
oh yeah.
yeah, that's a bag of
Can't even.
bullshit there, Lauren. Fuck all that.
So many bags of bullshit. So many bags of
Yeah,
bullshit. It's like multiple bags of bullshit.
exactly. You know, I'm not going to
You're not.
swallow a spider the size of a small dog, but I might put a leash on it
Oh my
and walk it about the
gosh.
town like a
Dude, listen,
gentleman. A little well, matching top hats, walking about the town.
if you like jumping spiders are the cutest fucking things. So I feel like a giant one would just be big cute.
Big cute. And we'll talk about that more in our spiders episode.
Which we will have one,
Absolutely.
obviously.
Arachnophobia, Kingdom of the Spiders, Eight-Legged Freaks.
What's a greater glider?
There's, you know.
We
Anyway,
digress.
we
Um,
digress. We're having fun with our Aussie fans.
so
Um,
so
yeah.
this movie, I mean, you're absolutely right. Tony Todd gives an amazing performance, and no, never got his flowers because even now, like we're just starting to get into the appreciation and the respect for horror films, because horror films have always been shit on because they've always been thought of as lesser. They've always been thought of as, you know, B movies. And I think that a lot of people, it took them a while to really realize and appreciate that um, they were some of the first movies to really tackle social commentary, to allow a woman to be the lead, to carry this film, right? Like, it took a really long time for the rest of the genres to catch up, and they still, because yeah, there was a lot of nudity, there was gore, violence, sex,
It was a lesser art form. It still is vastly considered a lesser art form. It's not cinema, according to those who would give out awards.
The shrimp eaters, as I have now begun to call them.
The shrimp eater, such a nasty term. Thanks to Substance.
Even though I do love shrimp, but
Shout
in
out to
that
the
way,
Substance. Congrats on its Oscar win for makeup and hairstyling,
well
and
deserved.
boo for Demi Moore not winning Best Actress. That was a daylight robbery.
Robbed at gunpoint.
But what's your like? Do you have a favorite moment on Night of the Living Dead? D?
I mean, I feel like it's probably gonna sound trite, but towards the end, when the good old boys come in, they're rounding up all the zombies, they're burning the bodies. Patricia Talman kind of looks at the way that they're behaving and how cruel and monstrous they're being. And she kind of laughs to herself and she says,
You
"They're
better get
us.
this right.
We're them and they're us."
Yeah, there you go.
And I mean, that right there, it speaks to the intelligence of George Romero. The he always really had his finger on the pulse of social commentary,
Yeah, like
even
the
with the later
times,
movies that, yeah, and even
like
with
his
the later
movies were
movies that
all
weren't as well received.
very much like a commentary of the time that they're made in.
And so in like intelligently stated, and it's such a powerful moment that I think that's why it's important that this is one of the movies that would be in, an intro to horror, a horror 101 kind of batch, because it gives us that side that is more well-rounded than it's given credit for.
Yeah, it's great. It's great storytelling, which is not always the case with horror. Horror can be very formulaic, and archetypal, and this is not that. This is a great narrative and great acting. I think one of my favorite parts, because Barbara, when she's gotten her shit together, she's like looking out the window and she's like, we could probably just fucking walk right by them. Like they're slow. They're slow and dumb. We could probably just walk out the front door. And once we get past the bulk of them, we could just walk. We don't have to run. We could just walk. And then at the end of the movie, it's exactly what she does. And there's this moment where she realizes she's right. And it's at the end and she's like pushing the zombie away, and just like there's no strength there. Like their strength is in their numbers, but they're not fast. They're not intelligent yet in the universe. They get a little more intelligent in Land of the Dead, but um, she's just like crying and screaming at this realization that if they'd listened to her, most of them would be alive. They could have literally just walked out the front door and walked to safety. And yeah, that's just a really powerful moment. Um,
Yeah, and also the fact that the zombie she encounters is a young girl. She's holding her doll.
yeah,
So there's just
it's a really powerful moment.
so much wrapped into it. What is she doing these days?
I don't know. Well, what's interesting
Well,
is,
because Sean was like, I made the mistake of looking up what she's doing these days.
um, what I think one of the really interesting things about this is the Ben character in the original, because at the end of this one, they kick in the door and Ben has succumbed to his injuries, being shot
I hate
by
that
Harry
part
Cooper,
so
and
much.
he's become a zombie, and he gets shot and killed. But in the original, he's not a zombie. He's just a guy.
Oh,
But
really?
because he's black, he is shot and killed, assumed that he is one of them. It's just like,
Oh, God. Mhm.
it's the social commentary in the original is very heavy. Um, I think I'm remembering that correctly. Uh, if I mean, I haven't seen it in a while, but I think that might actually be the case. Um, but yeah, that was a really heartbreaking moment too, and it kind of let you know that, like, it kind of sets the stage where it doesn't matter if you get bit, if you die, you join their ranks. It's not there's not a way out. There's no avoiding it. It's not a matter of if, but when in Romero's world. And that's something that they changed in the I think it was Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead remake, whereas the bite is what transmitted the virus. In Romero's world, the shit's in the air, man. It's like when you die, you turn into a zombie, you come back from the dead, point blank. That is it. That is the case, and that's the end of it. Um, yeah, it's a really great movie. Highly recommended. It absolutely deserves its spot on this list. And Denise, any final thoughts on Night of the Living Dead while I look up to make sure I didn't get that fun fact wrong?
Final thoughts. It's powerful. That's all I have to say, you know. I mean, that speech that Ben gives when he first shows up and he's telling Barbara what he witnessed and what's happened. I mean, honestly, I think it rivals a lot of award-winning speeches. I mean, he's really laying the groundwork for what's going on in the world, with his exposition, and it always gets me. So, I think I mean, it's a Tom Savini movie, but it's still George Romero, right? And it's based on his original work. So, I mean, George Romero is a genius. Not to take anything away from Tom Savini because I do love this version,
Yeah, absolutely.
but I mean, this is just, you know, you couldn't have this one without George Romero. So, I mean, just it's very powerful, like everything George did.
Yeah, and I was right. That is, I was right. Dwayne Jones
Sis.
is a survivor, and he is shot by the posse, shot dead by the posse at the end of the original, as opposed to being a zombie in the Tom Savini version. Um, Still very powerful stuff. But yeah, I love this movie. Definitely has its spot on the list, and should definitely be checked out by anyone getting into the genre. Is this? Thanks for the sub. As always,
Thanks, sis.
subscriptions appreciated, always appreciated, never expected, especially with the infrequency in which we are up. We love you all, and you do
And the
not,
state of the world.
you don't. We appreciate the subscriptions, but they're not. We love you regardless, is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, speaking of subscriptions, it's not a great segue.
Is
Final Destination. We watched this again the other day. This was a really
ah,
groundbreaking movie. Came out in the year 2000, the year I graduated. I remember watching this as a fresh. I can't remember when it came out in the year 2000, but I was either 17 or 18. Um, and I was getting ready to move to California, and I was going to be getting onto a flight.
oh,
And
no.
like by myself, like first time flying alone. And I remember uh, this movie had a profound impact on my fear of flying. Um, yeah, yeah. So Final Destination is a movie about death. To put it plainly, and how some people are a bit more in tune with death as an entity, as a as a almost like a living, breathing force of nature, like, air and fire and water and earth. Um, Death is this invisible monster that comes for us all, but can occasionally be evaded if you are able to recognize the patterns in which it plays out. And Devon Sawa, Ali Larder, Kerr Smith, like the cast is really good. There's a young Sean William Scott, Tony Todd again.
Tony Todd, that could have been your segue.
Yeah, Tony Todd could have been the segue. But yeah, this movie's really special. Like this was something that hadn't been seen before. First off, like the level of violence, like the like really graphic violence in this was really brutal. The way that people went out, and those just kept getting more and more graphic and more special as you went down the franchise. But this first one, you have a young Devon Sawa, young like pimple faced Devon Sawa and a young Ali Larder, and they're both fucking phenomenal in this movie. Devon Sawa is such a star, and I hope that he gets more work here. I know he's trying to spin some stuff up, and I'd be excited to see it. They're remaking Idle Hands. I don't think he's gonna have a piece of that. I think Finn Wolfhard's making it.
Did Chucky come back or did he get canceled? I can't remember.
Chucky is no longer. Yeah, Chucky did not get renewed. But I
Boo.
think there's rumors swirling that there's something going on with it. Death. That's a awesome way to put.
That's what I said. That's what I said the other day.
Death in this movie. Yeah, Death is an elaborate Rube Goldberg machine.
That's what I said the other day. I was like, oh my gosh, like
Yeah.
it's just.
Yeah.
I can't watch all. I have to like watch like this.
It's stressful.
It's so stressful.
Because it's so real. Like we've all had those moments where, you drop a knife and it almost hits your foot. You know what I mean? Like we've all had those close calls. We've all been like in a car accident, or, a rock hits the windshield, or, you know what I mean? Like we've all had those moments, where you're like, oh shit, like that could have gone very poorly. And in this movie it does, and it does in spectacular fashion. What's this I have to say here? Someone once told me death is like a predator that stalks us all our lives. I prefer to think of it as an old friend who goes with us on the journey and reminds us to savor every moment because they'll never come again. Picard, the legend, the man, the myth, the legend. That's a great way to put it. Although I don't know if the captain would have said the same.
Was talking about this death.
If we were to catch a car engine in the back of the skull in a drive-through, or have a log blast through his windshield and blow his whole upper body apart. But hey, what are you gonna do? D, so I know this is like a cringy movie for you. When we watched it the other day, you were like, "Ee." Like, is there a death in this movie that really makes you like squirm? One that really gets your goat?
Gets my goat. The teacher one is rough.
Oh, the teacher one's really rough. Yeah, for me, it's the like, because the other ones are so quick. I really like the bus hit with the with Terry.
That's so unexpected.
But
You're like, oh.
the very first death after the plane accident with his friend. I can't remember what the friend's name was. But he dies in a shower, and like it's the first time that we get to see how purposeful death is, and it moves in not such a accidental way, but in an intentional, and it's a supernatural force, and we understand that very quickly as like the water from the toilet seeps out, and then once he's dead recedes back, making the people finding him believe that it was a suicide.
I do have a question about that though. Do we see that ever again? Is that a ploy we ever see used again?
I don't think so, if I'm remembering correctly.
Interesting. When we watched it the other day, I was like, oh, it's receding so as to make it like you said, make it seem like something else happened, and I don't recall that being used again, so I thought that was a very interesting choice.
Well, and to be honest, like what we do see is the Rube Goldberg aspect. Like we see all the different variations and they build on that methodology as you go through the franchise. But as far as like it being like a smart element where it's like, "Oh, I'm gonna make people think that this was a suicide." I don't recall them using that trick again, and I can't imagine that it wasn't because they said, "I don't think that's how we want this to go." The death's brutal, and, like, the kid's eyes getting, like, hyper bloodshot with the shower cable, whatever that I don't know where that came from, but wrapped around
Probably
his neck,
a clothesline,
like,
some
yeah,
I
like,
think some showers have
slowly
those.
choking the life out of him as he, like, kicks his feet. It's very violent, and it's very, like, heartbreaking, you know, and,
It's very real.
yeah, it's very real. And it's one of the more, like, accidental deaths that you see, and, the teacher, when she goes, she gets it fucking she gets her ass kicked. She gets, like,
It's like
blown
she's
up,
being punished.
fucking knife in the chest, like, she gets it bad. Um, you know?
It Yeah, for sure, the logging one stays with you forever. I love those memes that are like, if you were, born in a certain time period, this will always terrify you.
Yeah, I
There's a
still, to
picture of
this
a
day,
logging
will
truck.
not drive behind a logging truck. I will break the speed limit and pass it if I have to. There's no way. There's no way I stay behind those. Logging trucks, the big metal cylinders, the tubes, anything that could break, hit the road, bounce up about 4 feet, and blast through my side of the car is not something I'm terribly interested,
No,
in being behind.
thanks. I think what's interesting too about this one, not that it gets less scary per se, but they do play, like you said, as the franchise moves on, they do play with a lot of different, like, you think that's going to be it, but that's not it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They play with your anxiety and emotions a lot. But like Nightmare on Elm Street, like we just spoke of, the first one has has a much more serious, sort of tense foundation than the subsequent ones. Does that make do am I
Yeah,
making
it's
sense
it's
here?
really after the second one where it starts to get more playful. The opening scene in the second one is my favorite, opening death scene of any of the franchise. It's just so beautiful. I remember when I saw it in theaters and I got out, I referred to it and still refer to it to this day as a ballet of violence. Um,
Yeah.
it's such an awesome, uh, you know, it's just an awesome, a really awesome way to show that kind of stuff. But we get like a taste once Devon Sawa's kind of cracked the code. We get a taste of what they do in the rest of the movies because he's in the cabin and he's like, we're seeing all the different ways and he's like getting in front of it one at a time and just really like getting over it on like getting past it. And you
Cheating it, if you will.
yeah, and we get a little taste of what's to come for the rest of the franchise there because that's a lot of like, oh, is it going to be the fan falling in their head? No. Is it going to be this goldfish in their throat? No. It's going to be a pane of glass that drops out of the fucking nowhere and splashes a kid on the ground. Like that's
Yeah.
which is what became part of why the franchise was so much fun for me because it was that like, oh, I wonder how they're going to kill all these kids this time. You know?
I think it's also a testament to the creativity that you have to continually churn out to make, because these are both major franchises, right? To
Yep.
make these franchise have the longevity that they have, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I am wildly impressed with how creative, especially the Final Destination people go throughout the entire franchise, get throughout the entire franchise because I mean, not only are they coming up with cool and fantastical ways to kill people that are normal, the steps that they have to sort of backtrack to. I mean, it's wildly impressive. Even in the first one,
Yeah.
towards the end when she's in the car and there's all this, there's the uh loose electrical wire, there's the water and there's, the fucking some sort of oxygen tank or something that was happening to be in the garage,
It
shit
was
like
like a
that.
propane tank.
There you go.
Got like punching on the car, and there were a few different ways. Death was working real hard in that scene to try to take her out.
Death was working overtime before overtime doesn't mean anything anymore.
Yeah, so Final Destination, really great, directed by James Wong, who also directed the third one, which I really like. It's at a theme park, and it'll make you second guess going on roller coasters ever again. But yeah, I love this movie. It's one of my all-time favorites. This franchise is one of my all-time favorites. I can't wait for Final Destination Bloodlines. That's coming out soon, and when it does, that's probably when we'll blow through this entire franchise in preparation for that. And that'll be a fun
That's a
one.
big franchise. We might have to break that up.
We'll see. We'll see how it
2 in
goes.
a row. Like, why
They
would
move
you
fast.
why would you say this should be included in somebody's sort of, like, intro?
Well, I think for the time, it came out in 2000, and the movies that were coming out at that time, like you had like Disturbing Behavior, and like it was like the Dawson Creek era of horror, like fresh faced, the faculty, like high school kids wearing with Caesar cuts and frosted tips and big bulky like puka shell necklaces and structured sweaters. Like it's
Do you still
just
have your puka shell necklace?
mine doesn't fit because I'm a big boy these days. But I think it's still in a bag somewhere. Yeah.
No, as long as you still have it.
Yeah, but like it's a Final Destination is a movie of the time. Like it screams the year 2000 from everything from the soundtrack to the wardrobe and the posters on the walls. Like it's a fresh it's a fresh reminder of the era, the year that I graduated high school. And was just one of those movies that really impacted me. So I think like it's a time capsule, and it was also kind of the first of its kind. Treating death itself as the villain in a horror franchise, who's not really a villain, just an entity kind of setting right what was out of alignment. Um, which is it's a balancing mechanism into the universe, and I think that's a really interesting concept for a horror movie where you don't have a slasher or a monster that you can slay or fight. The best you can hope to do is delay the inevitable. And you come to find in the further franchises, there's only one character or two. There's two characters who make it out, and it's in the second one, and don't end up getting their face eaten by the end.
It's an intangible foe.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of like all the worst parts of Freddy Krueger, but 24/7.
And I want to veer off just for a second here. I think that's also what's so underappreciated about horror movies, because I hear myself saying like the same words over and over again. That's game changer, game changing, visceral, And I think that one of the things that people have completely ignored is that horror has changed its own game so many fucking times, has been able to churn out this amazing, amazingly different offshoots of creativity to continue to grow the genre. And I don't think any other genre has been able to do that. Like, you think about all the game-changing movies that we can talk about, and they're all so very different. And it's impressive, the kind of creativity that goes into so many of these uh iconic movies.
Yeah, it's a creative genre. It takes a lot of imagination to, you know, have a piece of metal rattle under a train and have it shoot out and slice John William Scott's head in half. You know, it does. It's a special kind of person.
Takes a lot of creativity to kill people in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, it does. But it's a
But
great
it's,
movie.
it's
It
not.
deserves its spot in this list. And I'm a big fan of this movie and its franchise. And I love Devon Sawa, and I hope to see him in more and more stuff as the years go on.
Agreed. Um,
Hmm. Let's see here.
no, I don't think
We're
that.
going to ban that
Deny.
guy. Get out of there, you.
Um,
Yeah, so next on our list, Denise, this is another one of your favorites here that's frequently on the TV. Tell us about Insidious from 2010.
Insidious. Oh boy. So if you haven't seen the movie, we meet up with this couple, um, Josh and Renee, who have just moved into a new home, and their young son Dalton sneaks into the attic, falls, and then mysteriously goes into a coma. Um, and then after that, Renee is starting to experience what could be described as hauntings. They move, the hauntings follow. They eventually find out that it's actually their son who is quote unquote haunted, and he is an astral projector. Not like a project, he projects. He's not an actual projector. Anyway,
Opens his
um,
mouth and light comes out and plays your favorite movie on the wall.
yeah, exactly. Ah, terrifying. Um, isn't that terror films thing where it's
Hmm.
like the skull? Anyway, I digress. And apparently, it's a hereditary thing because Josh is later reminded that it's something he did as a child. And they bring the incomparable Lynn Shay in to help. She's a psychic and she helps him travel into the other realm, which she calls the further, to go find Dalton because he has astral projected away from his body far enough and has been sort of captured by this evil demon entity. And the longer he stays away from his body, the more susceptible he is to have it be taken over by one of these ghosts.
Old demonic possession.
Old demonic possession. And it's interesting because it kind of combines several different um, genres in a way, right? Because we've got this possession, we've got hauntings, you know, and well, two, not several.
It's 15 different genres rolled up into one.
It's 35 different genres. It's really cool. Um, and you see him travel into the further in the end, and it's just, I mean, it's visually stunning. The the juxtaposition of the two worlds, I mean, like, it's beautifully done. There's also use of some black and white characters, which TJ loves.
Awful.
That's
Just awful.
excellent use of the black and white being creepy. Like,
Well, too, and just like how everyone's kind of like frozen at like, like really like frozen in the emotion
I'm
is.
surprised we haven't seen that backstory, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um,
you can do an entire Insidious mini series exploring all the different monsters, and people would eat that shit up.
mhm, mhm, and this is another, it has spawned a fantastic franchise,
Oh yeah.
um, and it's really interesting because there are no good ghosts, right? We don't really see, I mean, maybe the kid was good, we don't know, but they're all trying to, like, get back to living, they're trying to get back to life, so if they know that you're alive, they're gonna go seek out your body. So, it was a new look at this sort of, like, demonic possession, at this ghost story, first off, combining the 2, um, and really delving into that world, the other side. You see a little bit of the other side in the Poltergeist, but this is very much stepping into that world, seeing behind the quote unquote living curtain. Um, and it was done very, very well. Like, I mean, Blumhouse, it's they print money now, I think is what happens.
Yeah, that's what they don't make movies anymore. They print money.
They just print money.
That's what
James
they do.
Wan
They're
directed it.
they're a franchise hit machine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love this movie. I love the franchise. Some really great performances: Patrick Wilson, Rose Byrne, Ty Simpkins is fantastic as Dolan, and it was fun to see him grow up on screen.
They bring it back. They
Um,
bring it back, and I love that. That's one of the things I love when you have, like, you bring it back and you original characters, and it's just fucking great. I wish it was longer, but I digress.
yes, and obviously, like you said, Lin Shaye. So now we've got a Lin Shaye connection from Nightmare on Elm Street. We've got a Tony Todd connection between Final Destination and Night of the Living Dead. So I'm glad that we're connecting all these, proper,
We're so good. Like a
properly connected.
beautiful chessboard.
But yeah, we've got Lee Winnell, who was in Saw, and I think directed it.
Create like he
No, was that
was
James Wan?
co-creator.
James Wan and
James
Lee
Wan
Winnell
directed
wrote
it.
it together, wrote
Mhm.
Saw, and he was in it.
As fucking like they wrote Saw as wouldn't you know what? That's another story for another day. But I mean, just like talk about printing money. Lee Winnell like doesn't ever have to do anything ever again a day in his
Exactly,
life.
Sean. More Aussies.
I mean, just another brilliant creator.
Yeah, and that's like what a like those characters are really fun with Tucker and Specs. Angus Sampson, who plays
Oh my gosh,
Tucker.
they are
Like,
really great.
what a really great duo who bring a lot of like great comic relief to an otherwise very serious movie, because it is at its core a very serious movie. It's a drama about a couple struggling with their marriage, who happens to, you know, have a supernatural element enter their life to complicate things even further, or the further.
Generational
Yeah,
trauma.
generational trauma. Like it's a layered piece. And I love when horror does that, because that, like, the genre can be used to heal just as much as it can to harm, as it were. And I think this is one of those movies that does that. Like, astral projection. I do believe in that. I do believe that I've accidentally done it a couple times in my life. It is definitely something that, like, I believe in ghosts and demons and monsters and supernatural and the paranormal. Like, I very much at my core believe in that. And that's a little extra scary for me. But the way that they present the afterlife here, and the way that they present their ghosts, I think, oddly enough, their demon, the red-faced demon, is probably um my the least scary monster in this to me. Um, it's the family. It's the like all the black and white ghosts. It's that family in the front that like skip some frames and like have a head turn instantly to the left and to the right, like off to the side. Like, that's really, like, the choreo on that's really beautiful, and that's really scary stuff to me. But yeah, the presentation of the further and all of the mythos and backstory we get on what it is in just that movie, that's expanded upon throughout the entire franchise, is fabulous. I think their only misstep, and I think if they had a time machine to go back, I think their only misstep was killing Lin Shaye in the first movie. Because
Spoiler.
I don't think we Austonia and I
I know.
dropped it
I'm
in
just
its top.
teasing.
We're you know
Just
we're
teasing.
it's been out for
It's okay.
25
It's
years now,
pretty
15 years now.
listen, some people haven't gotten around to watching
Um,
it.
but yeah, that, like,
I mean, yes. I mean, I agree with you 1,000%. I would watch 15 more with fucking Lin Shaye.
yeah, she ended up being the standout character in this franchise, so much so that they were like, how the fuck do we make more Insidious movies with Lin Shaye? And they went back in time and
But they didn't give her enough
set the
time for more
movies.
prequels. Like, oh, that's what's frustrating. Lee Winnell,
You know,
write
it's always
more shit for her.
it's the Hollywood machine, only wanting to take enough risk to make sure they get their reward,
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
true.
And I think that's a big part of it. But yeah, I think if they could go back in time and remake and have another go at this in whatever 2009, 2008, whenever they made this movie, for a 2010 release, they definitely would have thought again about killing off Lin Shaye. You
Oh
could have
God,
you
yes.
could have gone with, like, Barbara Hershey's character, who was Patrick Wilson's mom, and that you could have killed her off as a substitute to still get that moment, and it wouldn't have changed a thing. You would have just had Lin Shaye for the next 3 movies, and it would have been awesome. And you still do. Like, she's still in the sequel in some ways, and she's still in the Red Door. She's
but not
still
enough.
in the franchise, but you could have had her. Like, you could have made another 4 or 5 movies on the front of that, and not had to go back in time for a while.
In her version, I mean, we're not going to talk about it because we're going to talk about it somewhere else. But like, was it the last key?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's one of my favorites,
Yeah,
and
that's
that's
an
sort of
excellent
her
movie.
origin story. I think one of the things that's so important about this being on like the 101 list is that it's visually stunning, the cinematography, the lighting,
The
and
music.
the music. That's what I was going to say. The music is
Is it Tiny Tim?
I think so. But I mean
Tiptoe through the
not
tulips.
not just that song, which is scarier than the demon
Yeah.
for whatever reason, but the composition as well. It is its own character and it is expertly fucking done.
Well, and
Expertly.
there's so much shit that when you watch it the first time you don't see. Like, they put scares and ghosts all over this movie. Like, there are ghosts all over this movie that you do not see your first watch through. You really catch it on the second one, or if you watch like an Easter egg, YouTube video, and that the second watch through even scarier for me than the first one was, because you're like, oh, I know what's coming. Yeah, tiptoe through the tulips. That song on its own gives me nightmares, which is hilarious because that dude
It's
was an interesting
crazy.
cat.
Wild.
But on to a movie that does not have any ties to the first 4 we talked about, and that is 2019's Ready or Not, which it is a horror movie. I do consider this horror. I don't not consider this horror because it ticks some boxes. It's got some really gruesome deaths, but it does have a proven supernatural element, and that right there is what, in my opinion, like ties it down firm to horror. Because, like, if you look at a movie like We're Next, very similar vibe to this, except not as funny. This, I would also put this one on a horror comedy list, down the road, because it's just that good. But Samara Weaving, Adam Brody, the cast is stacked. Annie McDowell, it's a really fucking awesome cast and such a great story. It's about a wealthy family of game creators, an empire, a generational wealth, and a young girl who marries in, and anyone who marries into the family's gotta play a game at midnight to appease their oh no, Denise is gone. You disappeared. She's back. Let's find out if we can get her back. There she is. She's back, ladies and gentlemen. She's back. And everyone else. Um and yeah, and she's brought into this world that she is wholly unfamiliar with, and it's not just a world of wealth and privilege, but a world of family which she doesn't have on her own. And there's all kinds of games they can play, but if they draw the hide and seek card, basically they are hunted throughout the night, lest their benefactor, Mr. LaBelle, uh, just kills them. That's the deal. And what ensues is a really fun and wild ride through a bunch of really funny and violent deaths, and just some really great performances that make you really hate some characters and really love other characters,
Yep.
and culminates in what is arguably one of my favorite endings of any movie, horror or otherwise.
It's so good.
The only there was like the only other movie that I think ticked this box so hard for me was it Formula 51 with Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh my gosh.
Um,
Yeah, that was good.
yeah, so that was like aka the 51st state. But yeah, like it's just a great movie. Like, you have really really deep characters, and again, like great use of a set. Like, it's the set in this, like the home that they're in, the big mansion they're in, is a character in the movie. And Samara Weaving is a star. Like, she's just a fucking star. and she proves that over and over again, like in the babysitter movies. Like she's a star. She's a big star, and she absolutely kills it in this movie. D, what were your initial thoughts on Ready or Not when you first saw it? Because I can't remember if we saw this in theaters, but I feel like we did.
I can't remember either, but I was floored. I was wildly impressed that in a world where we like to regurgitate the same shit over and over and over again, and I could be proven wrong. This could be, could take inspiration, or could have straight up ripped something off, but from my rememberings, original, fresh, like, what a fun and wild ride. And literally, like, my mouth was agape so many times.
Yeah.
And that's just that it was such a fun and interesting movie.
Well, because you have like, rich white people being rich white people, and but the characters within that ecosystem are so unique. Like you have the sister character,
Oh, she's the worst.
Melanie Scrofano, who was just like a little coke bunny, like running around accidentally killing all the maids.
An idiot. She's an idiot.
Like,
And she's the princess idiot who's always taken care of.
yeah, but she plays that part so well. And you have Adam Brody, who's like clearly hates that he's in this family, clearly doesn't want to be a part of this, but he's a victim of circumstance. He's in it, and there's no way out of it, so he plays his part. His
But
wife is awful. Her character
mhm.
is such a terrible person. But yeah, they're all terrible in their own unique and special ways. That it's hard to pick a favorite. Like Annie McDowell's a legend. Um, and she, even her, like her character and the way she interacts with Samara Weaving's character Grace, like I think you get the feeling that there is genuine love and compassion there, and I don't think she's stoked that she has to hunt her now daughter-in-law down and kill her, because she's the only one in the family who also came from the outside, who came from a less privileged family. So there's that kind of relationship there, and there's a few moments through the movie where you're watching these characters and you're like, oh, is someone finally going to do the right thing? And then it's like, nope. Until you get to Adam Brody, who fucking
Who
pays for it. He
his emotions. When she picks the card, I saw it more in his face than in
Mark
Samara,
O'Brien, who played Alex.
yeah, Alex's face, who's Samara Weaving's new husband. And what's amazing is, because I know she like mentions at the time, earlier, she's like, your brother keeps hitting on me or whatever. I think his pain comes more from the thought of his brother suffering, because he always protected his little brother.
Yeah,
And God, you see it in his eyes, and I saw it so hard when we put that on earlier. And Adam Brody, I think he's getting a lot of like really great attention because of the new movie he's in with Kristen Bell, and I think that's fantastic because he's great.
yeah,
Um,
super talented guy.
Even that tiny little part he's in Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I mean, he's fucking hilarious. Um, but it's his character turns out to be the most redeeming, and he's still pretty terrible.
Yeah, and where Mark O'Brien's was great. Like he's a great actor. Like the performance was excellent. His
Mhm,
character almost seems like really secondary to the rest of the family. Like he's almost there as
mhm.
a plot device. He really only, and again, fantastic performance, especially in the last frames of the movie. Like excellent acting, like all around fantastic acting. But like there's so many more interesting characters that you get attached to throughout the movie, like Adam Brody's character. That you're just kind of
Yeah.
like, oh, I kind of wish that Adam Brody was playing Alex instead, because he would have gotten a bit more meat and potatoes.
Yes, but I also think that there was a reason he was played that way because of, the turn at the end. I think that, this is like somebody who's fighting against his true nature, right? Which is sort of what they mention early on in the movie. It's somebody who really wanted to be different than he actually is, versus, I think, Daniel, Adam Brody's character, who did something he super regretted when he was younger, and has been paying the price for ever since, and paying the price that he can't get away from the family, and that he met and brought somebody into the family who is just as, if not more disgusting than his family members, somebody who embraced it. Um,
Yeah, he even says like you were happy to sell your soul like instantly, like you were like right there. Um, yeah, I mean, she leads that family through the house, and piece by piece, they get, the ancillary characters get picked apart until we end up, a lot of like, she almost gets away a couple times, keeps getting brought back in and brought back in. And then we get to the finale, where we get to see the vengeance of Mr. LaBelle, and we get our answer this entire time, where our characters are bouncing back and forth between, is this real? Are you actually concerned that we're going to die if we don't commit this atrocity? Like, it's really, it's an interesting study in humanity, because no one knows for sure, because they just keep doing it. Like, they had an uncle, who didn't do it and who died, but that's, it was an accident. It was, it wasn't really. Um, so it's an interesting study in the human person, because based on fear alone of, one, losing their lives, but two, losing their wealth, they are willing to commit
commit
atrocities,
atrocities, yeah.
um, against new family members, against people who their own family members love and care deeply about, to retain their status. And we find out at the end, and the thing that really makes this a horror movie for me, is that Mr. LaBelle is real. He is a
He
he's a
held them to that
held them
contract.
to the contract, and what is, just God Almighty, like, just like the aunt running at Samara Weaving at the end after a heroic last ditch effort. The sun comes up and everybody's like, "Oh shit, we're fine. Everything's fine. Oh my God, how silly." And her husband's like, "Babe, I'm so sorry. Like, we're cool, right? Everything's cool." And then the fucking aunt goes running for her and explodes into mist and viscera,
Red mist.
like an overfilled balloon filled with like a fucking, like a meat pinata. Like, just explodes all over her, and then everyone else in sequence just starts exploding as the hide and seek song plays on the record player. And it's so much fun. Like, it's just such a fun way to end that movie, because Andy McDowell goes out in a pretty violent way.
Oh, yeah.
And Adam Brody, he goes out in a pretty violent way. He suffers. But I'd like to think that Adam Brody kind of redeems his soul in that moment.
Oh, for sure.
Um, Andy
He's
McDowell,
going out clean.
not so much.
No.
But the rest of the family literally exploding like popped balloons. Made me laugh out loud so fucking hard. I remember that moment and just being like choking laughing in my seat watching that, because it was so shocking and it was so much fun, and there was so, and again, I'm a sucker for blood gags in horror movies, and that was one of the absolutely best blood gags I've ever seen in a horror movie. And
Yep.
my only real complaint about this, and it's one of those things where I'm just like, smoking in movies is odd to me, and it, like, unless it's really motivated. In this, to me, Samara Weaving's character smokes in this, and it's kind of like a secret, like a dirty little secret.
Well, especially because Annie McDowell smokes, and it's supposed
Y-
to be a dirty little secret from her.
Yeah, but like at the end, I think the whole thing is like, for her at the end to be smoking covered in blood on the steps after the house burns down. because it's a cool shot. And to me, it's like
Yeah.
it's not so motivated. That's my only qualm with this movie. Otherwise, it's like a 9.9 out of 10.
Unnecessary smoking.
Yeah, unnecessary smoking for smoking's sake. But yeah, otherwise this movie's fucking phenomenal. It's so much fun. And the exciting thing is this is getting a sequel.
I know, I
It's been
know.
announced. I think it might be in production right now.
I mean,
Samara
it's
Weaving's back.
about time.
The original writing directing teams are back, so that's really exciting.
I'm very interested to
Um,
see where they go with this because the original was so creative and so unique in its commentary of classism and
mhm.
generational trauma and the lengths that people will go to protect their wealth and eat the rich. I mean, it's just it was such a fascinating and fun way to lay all that out on the table.
It's cathartic for the days we're in right now. If you need a little catharsis,
Yep.
give hide and seek a ready or not a watch. Um, Final thoughts on this or any of the movies we've talked about tonight, Denise, as we start to wrap this up?
I mean, I think that the at least our point for this was to choose some very different movies because we started to gravitate towards a lot of 80s stuff because that's where our heart found the love,
Yeah,
right, in these movies.
the
And
flashpoint of our love for horror.
right. So, we talked about spreading it out over the decades and talking about things we don't necessarily talk about all the time. And I think that we tried to pick some very different but very impactful movies
Hmm.
that are good to start with.
Yeah, because these aren't our like top 5 movies of all time. This isn't a top 5 list. This is a starter kit. This was designed for people who maybe weren't super into horror or who wanted to get more into horror, who can check out 5 random movies and get a taste for what the genre can be. And I'm happy with
And
our
different
picks.
subgenres. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, I dig what we did here. And I'm super excited to talk more about maybe in Hollywood 102 later on down the road when we go dive a bit deeper into some other movies that might be considered essential for your viewing pleasure. Maybe we'll get into some of the Cormans or the Tromas, the Full Moons, start branching out. But yeah, that's it. That's it for the show tonight. We've got big things to do after this. Ghost is
Woo-woo.
announcing their new Papa,
Very exciting.
Papa 5. So we're gonna go check that out and do the watch party. If you like Ghost, check out their YouTube at midnight Eastern. They're gonna be announcing a new single, new video. Um, yeah,
Um,
is this Evil Dead, Sam
of
Raimi
course.
classic? But
Speaking of
yeah.
YouTube,
Oh yeah, the
we're
YouTube. We've got
we're
the.
gonna put forth a really big push our subscribers up to.
I cut you off there, D. I threw the YouTube card up and didn't realize that there was no microphones attached to it.
How dare you?
I'm so sorry.
If you could help us spread the word, we're putting forth a really big push to get our YouTube subscribers up.
Yeah.
It costs nothing except for a little space on your subscriber list.
Yep. We got to get to 500, and we're very shy of that number
We're
in the
very
next few months,
shy, but
or we have to start over.
we're back and we're trying to put a big push forward because we're trying to push forward in
Yeah.
general.
We've got some fun scripted content coming out. Right now, this is it for the live Twitch stuff. Eventually might start coming back with some bonus round and you know, get in a little bit a little bit down the road for bring back some other shows that we enjoy doing because we like hanging out with you guys. This is fun.
Oh my
And
gosh,
we are
we've missed
eventually
you
going to
so
start
much.
multi-streaming to YouTube as well, to the YouTube. So we'll have to test that and check it out. But yeah, that's it. That's the show, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for sticking it out with us on this wonderful Tuesday evening. Denise, a pleasure as always.
Thank you, and you as well, sir.
And you also having one. Yeah, that's it. That's the show. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And until we meet again, keep the scream alive. Good night.